you then say the SG was complaining about the veterans that they must stop decampaigning the ANC. The SG raises this issue because it's an important one. It's very important. We've been saying we're a party that should have one message, and we should have as many people as possible to articulate that message. And there must be unity of purpose. I am the first to have said to the National Executive, let us have unity of purpose and let us unify the message that we beam out to our people so that we don't confuse them. Our people should not be confused by what we articulate. And am I happy about how the SPET has been handled? Yesterday there was a statement that came out where Comrade Mavuso Simang said he's withdrawing his resignation, and the SG also issued a statement saying that he apologizes for what he said, to the extent that it could have been seen as being insulting, undermining. And these things happen in organizations. That is now behind us. We're moving forward together as various components of the ANC, Veterans League, the Women's League, the Youth League, and all of us. We're moving forward as one movement, facing the 2024 elections. And that is why we're speaking with great deal of confidence. Confidence that is born out of what is happening in our various organizations. We are allied to a number of organizations that are throwing their weight behind the ANC, COSATU, the SACP, and indeed the various leagues in the organization. All of us are going to work for the victory of the ANC. And it is for that reason that we say there must be unity of purpose. There shouldn't be those who pull aside and who pull this way. There was then a question about the research, that the young people are concerned about the government's performance or the party's performance. Yes, and they're free to articulate that. But we are saying, having articulated that, we would like those who are concerned about it to look very closely at what the ANC is doing. Part of this review process was to get us to focus more on improving the service delivery, on improving what we do for our people. So in our view, much as one hears that young people are discouraged about the performance of government and they are disillusioned, the way we are reaching out to them is to say, hey, look again. This is an organization that has experience. This is an organization that has proven that it can correct itself. No organization in the world, political party or otherwise, is perfect. If you're looking for perfection, you will not find it in any political party. That I promise you. And the ANC has never claimed to be perfect. But the ANC has claimed to be a party that strives with all that it can to serve the people of our country and to reach levels of good performance and excellence. This is where we are now. We are correcting things that went wrong in the past. We are addressing even challenges that are objective challenges that we have had to confront. We are not standing still. We are not at a standstill point. We are addressing this. This is how we intend, as you ended your question, to address the challenges of young people. We are very pleased that many more young people have been registering now as like first-time voters. We've seen a real good rise. And the rise in levels of registration is largely because they are also seeing how the ANC is articulating the aspirations of young people, the hopes of young people and the challenges it faces. Just at this manifesto review, we had a number of young people, few, I admit, but there are many more who are seeing how their lives are changing, who now have the opportunity to get into skills that we never thought black young people would ever get into. Just speaking to some of these young people, and I asked them, what do you do? He says, I'm an aviation mechanic. What do you repair? I repair the engines of aircraft. But what size? And they say, no, I repair the engines of a Boeing 800, a Boeing 400. And I say, do you rip that engine apart? They say, yes. I do that. I inspect them. I put them all together. I promise you, 1994, no single black person was ever given that opportunity. Not a single one. Let alone being a pilot. You go to pilot schools today, you'll find that more and more of the people who are registering as would-be pilots are black young South Africans. And this to me is heartening because it shows that we are moving, we are changing. And as I said in the input there, 1994 we had one black African actuary, and that is a very difficult course. Today we have more than 130 or so qualified black actuaries. So that is change. And we need to see more and more of that happening in every endeavor of South African life. There has been forward movement. Even the potholes are being repaired today. You go to the various roads in our country, there are problems, there are challenges. Local government continues to be a big challenge, but we're shining a light on local government, correcting precisely what is going wrong. Some of it is continuing, but some of it we are going to keep on changing. So we are a country on the move. We are a country that is transforming, that is changing, that is improving itself, including the African National Congress. Thank you very much, and goodbye.
That is our cue to wrap it up. I'm going to take the last set of hands that had been up. I see that there's a new forest of hands. So I'm going to suggest that we keep it very succinct, and so that the President can then take care of those. We'll just indulge members of the media, since you've forgone your holiday, and just take a very quick second round, President, with your permission. I think you're being punished here. So I'll start with my colleague over there, and then followed by or we'll go to Newsroom Africa, and then it will be Eyewitness News. May I ask the technical team to sort out the sound, but you can proceed and you can just amplify your voice.
Just to say thank you for the opportunity, much appreciated. 1, 2. Yes, I just want to start with a quick observation, President. And it's a comment. If you want to respond, it's okay. Your language, you speak about encouraging ministers. You know, shouldn't you be using much stronger language? Isn't it perhaps part of the problem that we have these stubborn weaknesses that refuse to go away? That the kind of language that we use is sort of kid gloves language. Shouldn't we insist and demand that people comply? I'm certain the SG will have used the stronger term. Perhaps that's why he always apologizes, but... And then to my question, on the issue of decampaigning the ANC, you'd be shocked, Mr. President, some of the things that we hear when we engage with the veterans of the movement. Some will even speak of wanting the ANC to be voted out of power, that the party must first collapse before it could be built up again. Nicely so, these views are expressed within closed rooms. But if such views were to permeate, in the public, how will the ANC respond, and how will you deal with those type of people who make such comments at the level of discipline and at the level of, uniting the party and having one message, as you said? Thanks.
You did not introduce yourself, my brother.
It's Sito Mostone from Sunday World.
Thank you, Sto. Newsroom.
Thank you so much for the opportunity. Junior Kumalo from Newsroom Africa. Just to build on what my colleague has just asked right now. Mr. President, you spoke about how this review process was an opportunity for the party to basically demonstrate that it's renewing itself. But one would say that internally, there are individuals, especially veterans, who are not buying that message themselves. Even tomorrow, your predecessor is said to be basically detailing his political future. We just got confirmation from the foundation saying this is definitely happening. So how should South Africans believe that the ANC is definitely renewing itself when internally its own former president doesn't seem to be buying that message? Thank you.
Thank you. Tsidi Madia, Eyewitness News. Can I just very quickly say, we actually do enjoy telling good news stories, Mr. President. Believe it or not, it's not all bad news. I think members of the media also want to see the country succeed. Just to continue on this issue of the veterans, on the one hand, you might have former President Jacob Zuma and whatever happens tomorrow. But on the other hand, you've got former President Thabo Mbeki. I mean, I sat with him in Conakry, and he said to me he does not see himself campaigning for the ANC. I remember the ANC saying it will speak to the president. Have you had a chance to engage your former presidents? And the damage that could possibly be done from seeing former leaders of the ANC, supposedly, to use Mbak's words, decampaigning the party. Continuing on the track record, I don't want to take too long. I don't recall a time where I've seen the ANC so hard-pressed to show what it's done since the dawn of democracy. The language I observe lately is, yes, we've built houses, yes. It's almost like this desperation to get people to continue to believe that the ANC is capable. What does that say about the ANC of today, where you are hard-pressed everywhere I turn? There's almost a desperation to force people to see that you've done something in government and things that you ought to be doing as government. Just your reaction to that. Can I ask a quick last one? Your sense of the polls. The polls, for multiple reasons, have been saying a lot of things.
I did ask for
I'm
one
done.
question.
I am rapping. I am dancing, Matlingi. I apologize. Just your sense of the polls. By and large, the polls are seeing a negative as far as the ANC is concerned. I have my own view about where some of them come from, but your sense of them. Thank you. I'm done. I'm done. Sorry.
Thank you very much. I think let's combine the last two hands. And I'm only going to note the ones that came early. No, not new hands. It was just a second round, quick one, so that the president can then respond comprehensively. And then we can let you go, colleagues, and also allow our officials to also depart. Muloko?
Thank you. Muloko Mlot again from ANC. Mr. President, you alluded to the statement which was issued yesterday regarding Mr. Mavuso's episode. But there was a line there in that statement that indicated that there was an agreement that those whose names who were implicated in the Zondo Commission of Inquiry and have had their names not cleared by other processes will not be part of the list of those who will be going to Parliament. And I'm thinking there are several people who are in your National Executive Council, either as ministers or cabinet ministers. Some are officials. Are those people going to be among those who would be excluded?
Thank you very much. A very quick one, Zwai, and then to be my brother over there, who's the last person to speak. Shoba, you had a second bite. All right, but I won't take new hands, colleagues. Let's keep it quick,
okay.
Colleagues.
Okay, thanks again, Mr. President. Just going on on what my colleagues have been saying, I think one of the things we've been hearing, particularly from the veterans, is that it's very, very difficult to engage with the leadership of the ANC. The reason why some of them end up speaking outside, it's because they don't get afforded the opportunity. Because we do ask them, I mean, you're part of the ANC and you are seniors. Surely, once you raise your hand, the leadership will obviously jump. But they feel that door is really not open. Thanks.
Thank you very much. Yes, your hand was up.
Yeah. Thank you so much. My name is Khawelo Magolero. I'm with Newsnote and UFM. Thank you for the opportunity. Mr. President, how did it come to a point where the ANC has assumed the space of somewhat of an interest group in a country where it's governing? I understand when Mr. Malachi there or any of the leaks would sit on the fence and say, we want Pravin to go, we want this to be done, and so on. But when is the party's own SG or even headlines such as Ramaphosa wants an end to GBV, it's as if now you are yourselves as government, you are a pressure group, you are calling for solutions to come from elsewhere. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We then end it off with Sunday Times.
Yes. So mine is linked to Tidima Dia's question about the polls. President, your approval rating, the latest polls show that your approval rating has declined. What would you think? What will you attribute this to? And going forward, how do you then go back to those people who no longer see you as a first choice to then say, I can improve, or you explain yourself wherever you went wrong?
Thank you very much. I am going to now hand over to the President to wrap it up. We are looking forward to your input, City Press, just in terms of some of the things that you have raised with us. But you are early for the next media engagement session. Over to you, President.
Thank you very much, Matlingi. Some of you, in saying who you are, you talk so quickly and you swallow your syllables that I don't pick them all up. But let me refer to some of the issues that some of you have raised. Situmo says, I encourage, you want me to bang tables and kick people in their behinds and knock their heads in tables or walls and all that. It's nomenclature. You can be dramatic, but you need to make sure that the message gets through, to get people to react in the way that they should. Demand, insist, and encourage. In my view, it's actually saying, we want you you must do the work. What is often pleasing with in the media is that, people are fired. Fire so-and-so because they forgot to water their plant, or they forgot to do this, or they didn't do that. There are a variety of ways of articulating issues and managing people and leading with people and getting things done. So different takes for different strokes for different people. And I have a team of colleagues that I work with who are doing work, continue to do work, and I'm pleased with the way that work is being done in government, because we're dealing with a different set of problems and challenges, and I'll enumerate a little bit on some of those. And you talk about veterans, who you talk to, maybe on the quiet, and you say, some of them say things that they don't want to say in public. They also decampaign the ANC and even say, we wish the ANC could lose so that it can come back in a much stronger way. Well, I haven't heard that. But in the end, it's not according to their wishes or whoever. It is the people of South Africa who are going to decide. They are the final arbiter. They are the ones who, in next year's election, will make that choice, who will be able to say, we have confidence and belief in this political organization and this leader, and we want that party and that leader to take us forward. So that is the confidence that I have. And it's got to be left to those people. And it comes down to what you also said, maybe before I get to Tsidi, or maybe get to Tsidi. I'm glad to hear that you do report on good news. And there's a lot of good news that needs to be reported. But similarly, where there are missteps, we say, yes, they should be reported, because that is your job as journalists. That is your craft. You should be able to do that. And we are glad. I'm eternally glad that we live in a country where the media, the journalists, have the freedom to be able to report, to write, to speak out. It does not happen in other regimes, in other locales. It doesn't happen. You criticize, you are in jail. Here, we will make sure that those doors of jail are closed so that you never get there, because you must be able to articulate, as a journalist, what you need to. But what I often say, Tsidi, let us also find balance. And find balance. What we've often seen is what you say you do tell good stories. We don't often see them. But there are good stories that need to be told. The story that this government feeds every day for 5 days of a week 9 million children. And in many cases, 2 meals a day. It's a story that does not sort of happen in many other countries. And that is a good story to tell. And of course, as part of that, you could then raise that, okay, in other cases, there were mishaps, that it did not work as well as it did. We wrote about it with a view of correcting it, of making sure that it happens properly, and that they heed what needs to happen properly. So I'd like to hear more of those good type of stories, Tsidi. You mentioned the polls. There's a new industry that has emerged in our country now. It's a new industry and it's always the ANC is going down. The ANC is going to be less than 30%. And it's almost reported with glee that, we've got them now. They're going to go down. Everybody, is now forming a poll group. They go around the country. One sees these polls. Polls have sometimes been completely off the mark. And I go on one poll of feeling the pulse of our people. That's the poll that I go with. When I go into a township, into an area, I actually tell my comrades that I even want to go to places where people may not even want to see me. I'll go there and engage with them, because that for me is feeling that pulse of our people, so that they even have an opportunity to articulate their views, their anger. The more they are angry, the more I want to go to engage them, because that to me is feeling their pulse. So one notes these polls,